All right, so Acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, as we know, says he's going to hand over the second part of the state capture inquiry report at the end of the month, and then the final report at the end of February.
But, of course, in the meantime, the first part handed to President Cyril Ramaphosa has revealed some damning information. And, of course, that report deals, among other things, with alleged irregularities and, of course, some just maladministrations, of course, at SAA and its subsidiaries. And for more on this, we're joined by eNCA's Heidi Giokos to unpack particularly what's been found in, of course, that inquiry of report that has to do with SAA. Heidi, good morning to you, colleague. Part one of the report touching on SAA and its subsidiaries. It's clear as day, according to the report at least, that under Dudu Myeni, SAA deteriorates.
Exactly, and I must say I haven't had much sleep, so hopefully I make some sense, because it's a very lengthy report and it goes into finer details. Many South Africans did suspect that there was deterioration under the chairperson Dudu Myeni when she was chairperson of SAA, and we also remember, Tumelo, that I think it's important to highlight that when Alta took Dudu Myeni to court a couple of months ago, last year sometime, and she was declared a delinquent director, that of course was also highlighted in this report, that under Dudu Myeni, SAA deteriorated. And this is important to highlight, that the fact that in the state capture report, the report highlights that according to evidence and how Dudu Myeni was implicated, she was a bully as a chairperson. She failed as her duties as a chairperson at SAA. She did not follow proper procedures. She got involved in almost every single transaction. And what's important to highlight here is that there were two very important transactions that were supposed to take place at SAA, that was supposed to elevate the airline, if I can put it that way, bring in billions of rands. Instead, it costed SAA more money instead of making SAA money. We do know that with one specific transaction, it seems as though Dudu Myeni got involved. SAA was supposed to lease out 10 aircraft. Dudu Myeni went and changed that resolution to only leasing 2 aircraft, and then went back and said, oh no, I thought I changed it back to 10 aircraft. This cost SAA 800 million rand, because SAA was paying for storage facilities that they were not using. It was 2 million rand per month that was being used, 800 million rand in total that SAA had to pay for aircraft they did not have to use, or that they did not have. What's important to highlight here, Tumelo, is the fact that SAA, when Dudu Myeni rather testified at the state capture inquiry, none of what was testified against her and how she was implicated could be contested, because every single time she was asked to answer a question, she did not answer, because she did not want to self-incriminate herself. And I want us to go back and listen to a soundbite so people can understand that the state capture inquiry did not have much to work with when it came to Dudu Myeni, because she refused to answer. Let's listen in.
The question requires you to say whether you know or you don't know, and that it may be an operational matter might mean that you don't know, but there may be operational matters that you know. So it's more about what you know or what you don't know.
May I then, I appreciate that you've given me clarity. Then can I then invoke my privilege to say I would not like to respond to the question in case I incriminate myself?
Well, let's move to the Kwinana for a moment now, Heidi. Also been implicated with her not knowing what's happening, thus costing SAA millions.
Yes, certainly. I think there was another very important deal that SAA was supposed to get involved in, and as a very important member of SAA Technical, Kwinana said she didn't know about these transactions, and we'll listen to that soundbite in a little while. But what's important here from what the state capture has highlighted is that the state capture believes that the answers Kwinana gave to certain questions during her evidence revealed either she has no clue about some of the basic obligations that she should know as a chartered accountant, or she knew these obligations but dishonestly pretended that she didn't know. And I think this is important to highlight from the state capture report when it comes to Kwinana's testimony, is that she failed to answer very important questions when it came to her role as a chartered accountant. And the state capture report is recommending that the Chartered Accountants Authority look into Kwinana, because they believe as though even though she's a chartered accountant, she failed to answer these questions. She didn't know, she didn't understand her obligations as an executive of SAA Technical, and the state capture inquiry saying they could not determine whether or not it was just dishonesty or whether or not she just didn't know what she was doing. And I think this points to the very same sentiments that was picked up with Dudu Myeni, that she did not understand her role as chairperson of SAA. But let's listen to Kwinana's testimony when it came to a very important deal. We do know it's got to do with Swiss Airport and that very important deal with SAA that was supposed to take off, and we do know that Kwinana said she knew nothing about.
So how could you approve a contract that you did not know? Because you have said you don't know that contract. I've just stopped you from going back to the 2012 contract now to remind you that Ms. Hofmeyr is talking about the March 2016 contract. Now, she has shown you a resolution. You agree that you approved. So how could you have approved a contract without knowing it?
Considering that it is stated like this, Chair, if you say, then I approved here, that is fine. Let us continue, Chair.
No, but the question remains, how could you have approved a contract you did not know?
Chair, I didn't think that this is a contract. I thought we were approving only the terms and conditions, not the whole contract. The whole contract would have the whole lot of
Ms. Kwinana,
the price and everything.
Ms. Kwinana,
and then the terms of conditions.
Ms. Kwinana,
Chair,
you are a chartered accountant. You are a chartered accountant.
Well, Heidi, the report further speaks about why former President Jacob Zuma fled the commission. What actually does the report say?
Yes, and I just quickly want to touch on the kind of tone that you saw from Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. That's the kind of tone, Tumelo, that you are picking up in the state capture reports, where he does not hold back. He makes it very clear that the state was captured. He makes it very clear that people were placed in certain positions to capture state-owned entities. State-owned entities are established to benefit South Africans and to provide a service to South Africans. The state capture report identifies that this did not happen. It only was these state-owned entities were there, and people were put in these positions at state-owned entities to benefit certain individuals. What's interesting here is that we do know that former President Jacob Zuma did not want to appear before the state capture inquiry, and when he did, it seems as though the Zondo Commission did not hold back, and it said Zuma fled the commission completely without any valid reason. He did so in order to avoid having to answer questions in the commission about matters. He did not want to account to the nation. He knew he was not going to have any answers to many of the questions that were bound and put to him. What's also highlighted in the state capture inquiry report is that the Zondo Commission says Zuma fled the commission because he did not know how he was going to answer to why Dudu Myeni was placed as chairperson of SAA, and how that position was only there because of the close ties between Zuma and Dudu Myeni.